Hey guys, Raven here. Welcome to Into the Metaverse podcast number 4. I have my co-host Albert Kornas.
Well, hello.
How you doing, Albert? What articles do you have for us to discuss today?
Doing well. So the first one is the headline basically says that there's a Minecraft project, NFT Minecraft project,
hmm
selling over $1 million of tokens, and then they delete everything a few days later. So it seems like a
Oh
rug
wow.
pull to me.
What do you mean
So
they
yeah,
delete the tokens?
I think the tokens still exist, but I think they
hmm
just deleted like the OpenSea project. Basically, what happened is that they sold all these tokens, which were basically just like Minecraft characters, like think of like Minecraft Steve or whatever, but
Yeah.
um, just a bunch of different variations of them. And like they were getting a bunch of threats, I guess. That's was their words, a bunch of threats from the Discord members, and that like gas fees were high. Um, Essentially, like there was problems with the servers. So a lot of like just anger, I guess, in the Discord, and they
hmm
decided the best thing to do was just to delete it all and keep the money.
but it's decentralized. How can you delete a decentralized? Yeah.
I think I think I mean they deleted the Discord. I know that.
Okay.
I need to check if it's still on OpenSea. Like, what is the extent of the like deletion that they did? It's called Blockverse.
Blockverse.
Um, yeah.
That's actually a good name.
So
I like that.
it's a good name. It's a good name. It's a good concept too. Um, but yeah, so everybody is obviously really mad. Like spent a lot of money on these tokens. The one thing is that they actually like the members of the Discord, the original Discord, opened up their own Discord to try and track down the developers and the owners of Block First.
Okay.
So they're
Wow.
trying to get like a paper trail going and trying to find them and get their money back somehow.
Okay. My immediate thoughts on this is like we've seen so many crypto related scams. It just seems like another one of those. But did the tokens exist at some point? Like, did they actually exist?
Yeah, so I'm looking at it on OpenSea right now, and so there's 1,600 owners. There's almost
hmm
13,000 tokens, and it seems like they exist, but they're all like placeholder images. Like does that makes like they're not like I guess they got minted, but they're not like they were never like given to the owners. Like let me show you so because this is kind of hard to explain, but it's like generally the process is like for some of these projects is like they open up like the minting to the public, right? So
hmm
you're able to buy one, and then there's a reveal date, like usually a couple of days after you mint, and that's when you like receive your image or your NFT or whatever.
Gotcha.
So to me, it looks like they accepted all the mints, and then they never actually revealed them to the owners,
Okay.
to the buyers.
I didn't know that it even worked like that. You can tell how many like Kickstarter NFTs I've invested in based on that statement.
Yeah, I didn't know that either, but yeah, like you, for a lot of these projects, you don't know what you're buying, and I think that might even be the case for like all of them, to be honest. I mean, unless you're like
mhm.
buying, like trading from, like if you sell me one, then obviously I can know what it is. But if you're like minting an unknown one, I think it gets revealed at a later date. So yeah, it just seems like they never got revealed, and they deleted the Discord, which is pretty
So
uh,
I know that we
scummy.
had 6 articles lined up, but I'm gonna add a seventh one because I got
All
like
right.
a this is related slash whatever thing, and
Mhm.
I see it's interesting. So let me give you the link so that you can just take a look at this real quick. It's basically a Pokemon FPS. Just click on it, you'll understand.
Okay, I saw the video. I get it. That looks interesting. That does not look like something Nintendo would like either.
So yeah, this was done in Unreal Engine, and it looks like it could be a VR universe where you hunt Pokemon. And with
Yeah.
Pokemon RCS, I believe, right? It just came out. I'm a huge fan. Like I did not own a Nintendo Switch before this. In fact, I've purchased a Nintendo Switch multiple times, but I gave them out as presents to coworkers.
Nice, nice.
And I do this with things like the PS5 and whatever too. Is like if I'm trying to get into someone's good graces, hey, maybe you'll receive a PS5 this Christmas, Albert. I like but yeah. So with this, it kind of it's an FPS. You're killing Pokemon, so obviously Nintendo doesn't like it, but it's an open world, which I'm a huge fan of. I'd like to
Yeah,
see
that's
Nintendo
cool.
go in this direction.
Yeah, especially from like a developer direction.
Hmm.
This is interesting. This is like impressive to me.
Yeah, too bad. I'm killing rare or extinct Pokemon here.
Yeah, yeah.
The
I mean, it
best
seems like it's gaining a lot of traction. I see why they're mad about it though.
the best thing about Pokemon is they can't go endangered.
Right, exactly.
Okay. Um so
Yeah, jeez.
let's move on about potential scams and,
Okay, all right, yeah.
projects not delivering. Um
Yeah,
so Facebook basically has a cryptocurrency that they were going to launch called Diem or Libra or something like that, and
yeah.
they have since killed that team. Apparently, is what the news articles have said. And of course, everyone has been opposed to this. But Cambridge Analytica scandals came out, and like Facebook privacy nightmares. So the question is, should we trust Facebook in the crypto space, or like should we even allow them to attempt it? Because I think, the public is jumping too far ahead of themselves and not even seeing what
Yeah.
they develop.
Yeah, yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, I think it's pretty on like point for them to be working on this, considering like they just
Hmm.
rebranded as Meta, and it seems like they're really like putting a big kind of charge towards like virtual reality.
Hmm.
But then at the same time, like you said, like really great points with Cambridge Analytica and all the privacy concerns. So, I mean, I think like they have I think they should like as a like corporation they should be working on like a like VR and cryptocurrency and stuff. The thing is like does the public want to accept that? And I feel like it's kind of at like a crossroads because I think a lot of the people that are really into like crypto aren't really going to be like don't love using Facebook. You know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of two different cultures,
Yeah.
I think. But I think with like the power that Meta has, I think they definitely have a chance of getting a good cryptocurrency project out. I mean, they
What
have
if
so
they?
many resources.
You know how Apple has like in app store restrictions? What if
Yeah,
Facebook says for our metaverse, like the Quest 2, whatever stuff, you need to use Facebook's cryptocurrency as the transaction method?
yeah. I mean, that would be perfect for them. They just monopolize it
Hmm.
essentially and just use it on their platform only. And I feel like that could be the case for a lot of other projects too, especially with bigger corporations. Like you can only use our coin to buy our stuff.
Hmm. So I've been trying to think like how can you exploit this slash currently if you mine cryptocurrency, right, you need to pay taxes on that cryptocurrency that's mined, and this
Like IRS taxes.
IRS taxes, correct.
Yeah.
Now, if you have a stable coin that's dollars, this is easy to see in terms of like Tether, for example, is a 1-to-1 ratio for USD, right? But
Yep.
Bitcoin, if it goes up, you pay capital gains taxes and stuff. Now, let's do maybe Libra or Diem as a currency, correct? Um,
Okay.
in the future, these entities can essentially just generate their own cryptocurrency in a way, right? As like, hey, I'm going to give you $50. Maybe you'll get $50 worth back of Libra currency. But in addition to that, they can even add a bonus of saying like, here's an additional five, or if you develop something for the platform, or if you play 100 hours, you get an extra 5 or 10, right? So
Yeah.
they're kind of like fake points, but also real, kind of like miles that airlines use. Um,
Yes. Exactly.
so under U.S. law, they would technically have to pay taxes on any Libra currency or whatever minted because it goes on their balance sheet. That being said, if they go to Ireland where taxes are essentially 1 or 2% for this type of thing, then instead of paying the 20%, they're mining currency that has like 1 USD of value, but they're paying 2 cents in taxes versus 20.
I see.
So they're creating a net profit for themselves. And this is how corporations now can invent their own currency, Albert. 101.
Yeah. Exactly. No, yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, I wonder how it works. Like, if are they mining? Like, is it? It's
Mhm.
not a. I think it said that they tied it to like the U.S. dollar. Or they tried to, Deem. I'm talking about Deem.
Yeah.
So it seems like when it was like kind of like failing, they started trying to tie it to the dollar. But yeah, that's a great point. Like,
Hmm.
they could just go to like a lower tax country and do that.
Correct. And so it's there's a lot of concerns there, especially like should corporations have the power to basically have their own central bank, which is
Yeah,
that's a whole nightmare, guys. Like this, you don't want to live in this future. This is how you got Cyberpunk 2077 or whatever it is, right?
Facebook dollars and Microsoft dollars.
Oh my, I don't even want to think about it. Like, it's fundamentally a nightmare.
It is, yeah.
So what I'm waiting for though is the U.S. central bank, the Federal Reserve, to release their own cryptocurrency slash a digital dollar. And there's talk about it. I think it'll happen by end of the decade. What about you?
Yeah, I could see it happening. I mean, it would be a good way to kind of like probably
Hmm.
discourage people from, or discourage like larger corporations from making their own. Like it would be a, sort of like a regulation kind of thing, I think. Or at least it would be easier
Hmm.
to then like introduce like regulations because if they have like their, if the Fed has like their own coin or the government has their own coin, like I feel like that kind of like is like okay, use like our coin and don't like use like Facebook coin. Um, I think it's definitely. I mean, you have all the big corporations going into this. I wouldn't be surprised if the government did it next. And like, definitely is an interesting topic to think about. Like, how would that affect like traditional like Bitcoin or like Ethereum?
Hmm.
Like, how would that affect that? Like that regulation there is kind of it could be bad.
Here's kind of like the issues with it, though, right? Fundamentally, so the two major issues I okay first all dollar bills currently have serial numbers, and technically, if you tracked all the serial numbers, you would know how many dollars there are in existence, minus fakes and whatever, right? Like
Yeah,
counterfeits. But so if it's on a blockchain, it's essentially kind of the same thing. You just have like a list of the blocks mined, which are equivalent to dollars.
yeah,
Now, the U.S. government has a lot of black projects, black op military
yeah,
projects. They say they've printed this amount of currency. In actuality, they've probably printed more than that.
yeah,
If
yeah.
it's if it's a digital dollar, you can't do that, right?
That's a good point. Yeah,
You literally fundamentally just cannot. People would know about it. It's on the same ledger for it
yeah,
to exist.
yeah. It would all
Second,
be public.
if a country like China or Russia invented a quantum computer and broke the encryption for that Bitcoin thing, they could literally just fuck up your shit. So,
Yeah, it
like
would be a nightmare.
a 51% attack rate on
It,
your entire money
catastrophic.
network.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. We'll have to see.
Yeah, I feel like it's still like in a kind of like Wild West era, although
Hmm.
not as much as like 5, 6, 7 years ago when it was really like, kind of underground thing. And now like everybody's kind of getting into it. I feel like there's more like last podcast we talked about the, like it was essentially like uh, FDIC insurance except for
Yeah.
crypto. Like that, like 5, 6 years ago was like a crazy idea. You would never really think about that. But it seems like as like the technology is advancing, more people are getting into it. It's becoming more mainstream. We're seeing like higher security and just more of like kind of a safer environment, I guess, to work in. Although still definitely Wild West kind of ish. I mean,
So,
we can see
so
with the whole block first thing.
two separate ideas. These are both Raven originals. You work for Fidelity. Tell your employers this idea where they should automatically start mining new cryptocurrencies just so that they get the initial like super easy blocks. Keep them in a
Yeah,
cold wallet for storage and use it as insurance on the rest of the deposits. So
yeah,
that's number one, right? It would barely cost them anything too, because
yeah. No,
how much compute power do they have to spend like one day mining, go on to the next one?
yeah,
Um,
exactly.
the second like Raven original idea, I will tell you later in the podcast because I forgot it. Um,
Okay.
so next article. You want to talk about this
Yeah, I'll
collateral
talk
thing?
about
Yeah.
yeah, so Warner Music and Sandbox are bringing live concerts to the metaverse. So essentially, Warner Music would buy land, set up like a virtual stage, and then artists could have concerts in VR. So
Hmm.
yeah, it seems. I mean, they. So the first kind of I thought I get from this is like the Travis Scott Fortnite concert when he did like a concert in Fortnite. That was like during the height of the pandemic, but yeah, that's a pretty similar idea where everybody can just like tune in and listen to a concert virtually.
This is
Um,
so dumb. No, I refuse. Like,
yeah,
I'll tune in, I'll wear a headset and go see the concert, but buying land in virtual space should not be a.
well, the thing is, it's like you could do that without having to buy the land, right?
Yeah,
You could just set up your own. Like Warner could just set up their own sandbox. Like, why do they have to use the sandbox?
they can literally just set up their own server to host it for the event space. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, like
Maybe.
I'm just kind of surprised, I guess, that they're using sandbox. Like, I get it because like they probably want to be
Hmm.
like downtown or whatever, like in a good spot. But I don't know, man. It seems too early.
Who is convincing these executives that I want to be in the
Yeah.
boardroom hearing this pitch? Hey man, you got to give me like $1 million to buy this virtual land in for so we can host virtual concerts.
Yeah.
5 years from now when it becomes big.
Yeah, Warner's the first mover in this space, and it says,
Hmm.
they secured the equivalent of beachfront property.
What is beachfront? Okay, what is
See, the
beachfront
thing is,
property?
it's the equivalent. I guess it's just valuable. It must be like downtown, like I said, like
Hmm.
something like that. But yeah, it's curious why they chose like Sandbox instead of Decentraland or some other platform because we don't know yet who's going to stay around for
Hmm.
10, 20 years.
Right, and something to consider though. This is not even relevant to the metaverse. It's kind of like how real life works for city planning. On the East Coast, because of the way wind movements traveled, wind travels from west to east. So back in the day, 1800s, you used to have coal fire plants as well as factories that produced a lot of pollution. The pollution and ash would essentially travel eastward, or sorry, it would travel eastward
Yeah.
towards the ocean, and that means like you'd get a lot of soot, you'd get a lot of stuff, and more expensive houses were built on the west side of town for that reason. And you kind of see that even
Mm.
nowadays, right? Looking at modern things, the ghetto, the hood, poor poverty areas are typically to the west side of town. Keep on saying the wrong side, to the east side of town. Then the west side of town is more the wealthy area. Um,
Yeah.
I would love to see how city planning is done in Sandbox and Decentraland because there is no city planning. You don't have to worry
Yeah.
about virtual soot. It's a free for all. But like, is it
Yeah.
is there a way to see like a virtual map of this? Like, is there a Google Earth of this? Because
That's actually exactly what I'm trying to find right now. I was looking at Sandbox. I didn't find it fast enough. I did find one for Decentraland a few weeks ago, though. Let me see if I can find that again.
gotcha.
But yeah, last time I looked at it, it seemed like it was literally just a grid.
So
Like that's it.
this is gonna be a Raven original number three then on this topic. Um,
Okay.
Google Earth for Sandbox, Decentraland, whatever.
Yes. Yeah, that would be great.
Google
Because right
Maps,
now,
something like that. Yeah.
I think it's just crap. I'm trying to find it. Decentraland map. Yeah. Okay. So I found it. Yeah, found something. This looks like a 90s video game map, but I will link this to you. It's yeah, just the top-down view of like this map, and I
Hmm.
guess there's like a city square. But I mean, everything is generated virtually by
Correct.
the developers. So like there's no natural occurring like it's all like like planned, because like cities in real life like planned, right? But they're built around like natural
Hmm.
landscapes and stuff. Versus this is everything is planned.
Yeah, and I think there's a good thing to do at points of interest. Um,
Yeah.
I also remember the Raven original number two, related
Oh yeah. What
to
was it?
cryptocurrency. Build the first cryptocurrency on a quantum computer. That way, you would need something more powerful than a quantum computer to solve it.
Yeah.
There
No,
you go.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. No, that could definitely be like definitely is a concern. I mean, like anything like Bitcoin, like with that issue would be like if that happens, like it gets cracked, then that would be
Hmm.
like really bad,
Okay, so
catastrophic.
moving on from virtual land, kind of is how do you buy this land, Albert? Well, you have to take out a mortgage because this land is expensive, and that brings
Yep.
us to um, now you can get a mortgage in the metaverse to buy fake virtual land that can disappear and whatever.
Yeah, I
Are you
think
going
this
to
is
take out a mortgage?
no. I think this is a pretty bad idea. I mean,
Mhm.
I it makes sense in this like case. Like the use case I see is like if you already have like if like let's say you have a bunch of cash, but you don't want to just spend like because you don't buy houses in real life like
Right.
over and over for like cash. Like you take out mortgages and you take advantage of the interest rate. That's the way I could see this happening. But like if you don't have enough money and that's why you get a mortgage, so I don't think.
So I'm
And
reading
I
this.
think it's hmm?
Oh, I'm reading this. Terra Zero, a metaverse developer, says it issued one of the first mortgages in the metaverse for $45,000 parcel of Irit's land in the entertainment district of Decentraland. So so dumb.
Yeah. I mean, so at least the thing is, it's they only give 2 year loans instead of 30 or 40 year loans like in real life.
Okay.
But there is no regulation on it, so
Mm-hmm.
yeah, Wild West kind of.
What is the collateral? Is it this piece of virtual land that acts as the? It has to be, right? But then,
But what if it drops in value like
mhm.
insanely, or like if it gets deleted?
And I have two further questions. Are there property taxes in Decentraland?
It's a great question.
Right. And the second question is, who controls like this virtual deed? Do I need to transfer, like how I transfer a Bitcoin to you? Do I need to transfer this NFT deed to this property in Decentraland, or is it just like, hey, I file for bankruptcy, but I still get to keep this? You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing,
Yeah,
there's no mechanism that can force me to give up my cryptographic key to you.
yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
You just say I lost it, I forgot. Doesn't matter. It's on this one computer and it's
Yeah,
lost. That okay. Um,
yeah, that's interesting. I mean, they probably have to have some sort of collateral, but because yeah, like you just said, there's no way they could not be doing collateral if that happens. Like, just take out a bunch of mortgages and just never pay them.
dude, we gotta take out parcels in Decentraland that are not like part of any district, like low value parcels, like 1,000
Yeah,
per parcel. Find some developers who can toss stuff on there, right? Just like
yeah,
you would in real life. Increase the property value and then do a cash out refinance and collect that money and invest it in more real estate.
that would be fantastic.
I
It's hard to get anything for cheap though, man. Have you seen these prices?
No, I have not. But 45,000 for commercial lot. Jesus Christ. Um, and here's my thing though, right? Um, half the viewers probably listening to this are like, "Hey, that's genius. Go do that right now." Right?
Yeah,
And the other half are probably just like, "What are you talking about? Buying virtual land and investing?" It is what it is. Um,
yeah,
so if you are doing like NFT deeds and stuff like that, another company called DCG backed Genesis. I don't. Okay, so it's just called Genesis, and DCG. I don't know what that is. Digital Currency Group is now accepting NFTs as collateral for these loans.
yeah.
Okay.
So it says that they're only taking so-called blue chip NFTs like Bored Ape Yacht Club. So I guess we could define that as like anything that's been around for a while, like the original, like ape collections, or
Hmm.
like trying to think, like the cyberpunks.
Yeah.
So the idea is like I guess they're safer than the newer projects because you're not gonna get a rug pull. They've been around forever, and a lot of people know them. Like even people who aren't into this whole space, like still like they see like the ape and they're like, yeah, like it is what like they know what it is. So yeah, like established ones that have been around for a while because I think the bored apes have been around since like 2016 or something, 17 maybe. They've been around for a while though. Like
The, okay. This is another Raven original idea. We can build a university in Decentraland, and
okay,
then we can charge virtual college tuition.
that's crazy. Yeah, I could see it though. I mean, it's already like everything is already like colleges have been remote for 2 years now.
So, students want to have the experience of going to class in person. They can do it in Decentraland.
Yep,
It,
yep.
this actually
And that
might be
bridges
one of my best ideas.
that actually is a good idea because it actually bridges the gap between like remote and in person because you're
Hmm.
still going there, just like in Decentraland.
Oh my god.
You could sit in a lecture hall.
What would the majors be? How to create NFTs 101?
Hmm.
I could see that being a class. I guess there might even be a class called NFT financing, like how do you make money off of NFTs and get loans and mortgages,
Yeah, I wouldn't even be surprised if that gets introduced to like traditional universities, to be honest, because there's a lot of like
Mhm.
I don't know how they work, but there's a lot of like student run courses where you could just be like, I think like a graduate student or something, and you're like, I want to start this class about like plants or something, and you can just do it. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's actually becomes like a thing.
When you think about institutions that are like ahead of the curve on these type of things, Stanford, MIT, and Carnegie Mellon for
Hmm.
computer science stuff. Do you know if and the reason why I say Stanford specifically is because they had the entire mobile development courses online before anyone else did. Like they were leagues ahead. I don't know if that's because Steve Jobs was like, "Hey, I did the entire college graduation thing. Let me have courses on mobile development," or if like
Yeah.
Apple is so close to Stanford. Who knows? But um, does Stanford offer classes on cryptocurrency? Surely they offered courses before on signal process. Is it signal
Yeah.
processing or cryptography classes? But I don't think they've specifically offered NFT stuff.
Yeah, so I'm not sure about NFTs, but actually they do. It's CS 251 cryptocurrencies and blockchain technologies.
Hmm.
So you could actually find the syllabus, the overview, the homeworks, projects, and the calendar online.
Okay. Huh.
So yeah, they're definitely ahead of the curve on that. I mean, that one makes sense because it's just like, I mean, the technology's been around for like over a decade at this point. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they started doing like NFTs or at least like integrating that into their current blockchain classes.
How do you feel about a Roman Colosseum in the NFT space, and then like you can have fake gladiator duels? You can use Minecraft Steve in the gladiator duel using those
That
NFTs
would
that
be
got deleted.
fantastic. That would be fantastic.
I could see it
It'd be
happening.
like a vacation and a video game combined.
Yep. Okay.
Let's bring back those like ancient duels. You could just duel people on the spot.
You know how China wants to invade, Russia wants to invade Ukraine?
Hmm.
How about we just let them do it in a virtual land?
Yeah, I honestly, that's a fantastic idea.
Okay.
Let them duel it out in the Coliseum.
I'm
Minecraft
firing.
Steve.
I'm firing like on all cylinders today. For these. You want to take the next one? I think it was
Hmm.
like the OpenSea article.
Yep. So that would be actually we went through the Blockverse one. Yeah. So this article says over 80% of NFTs minted for free on OpenSea are fake, plagiarized, or scams.
Hmm.
So yeah. So obviously OpenSea is like the main online marketplace for this stuff. and apparently one of its employees like resigned because they were using insider information to like make money on these jobs. There's
Oh,
another
okay.
issue. Yeah, it's like that could be another topic. But yeah, so like you can create one on there really easily. Like I did it as just like I just uploaded like a random PNG from my downloads folder, but it's like took me 30 seconds probably.
Hmm.
So now they're putting a restriction on that. So and it's like before that you could just create one. You didn't have to pay like a gas fee or anything like that to like write new data to the blockchain. But now I think they're changing that. So now if you want to upload anything, you're going to have to pay the gas fee up front
Right.
to fix this.
I also thought this was very interesting. Their minting tool basically allowed you to do unlimited mints, which was partially the problem. And then they introduced a 50 limit cap on how many NFTs you were allowed to create. People got really mad, so they undid that, but they were taking like a massive upfront cost by paying these gas fees on. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so if I'm correct, like they were I guess you could upload like whenever someone uploaded one for free, OpenSea would eat the cost.
Hmm. But then it would be on OpenSea's kind of permanently. You can transfer it out.
Right. That
Hmm.
makes sense.
So
Yeah,
imagine if any other platform, 80% fake, right? Like eBay, 80% of the listings were fake. eBay would not
yeah.
exist.
Would not exist, no. This is definitely a problem that they're gonna
Hmm.
have to solve one way or another. I think this gas price thing is it makes sense. I mean, like to listing things on eBay is technically free, like unless you want to sell like a car or something. But I mean,
Hmm.
that's they have ways to filter out like fake listings. Like, I mean, I don't know. How do they do that though?
How can you do that with cryptocurrency, like reverse image search? But you'd
Yeah,
also,
reverse.
not a keygen, you know what it's called? Let's say that it's like a cryptographic key. Checksum. They can use checksum
Checksum.
on these things.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's a good point. Do you think they are actually like scams or it's just people uploading random stuff?
Some of them are scams. So, like, you know, the Bored Ape? People were
Yeah.
doing, like, mirror images of them and
Oh yeah,
selling
yeah,
those. There
yeah,
were also people that were literally taking other people's artwork and just selling those. Like, they had no
yeah. So that's
rights.
an obvious scam. But like,
Hmm.
what is the line between like a scam or like a derivative? Because there's a bunch of derivatives, like different kinds of like ape projects. You know,
If you don't
like
own the
that's
copyright, you should be allowed to make the derivative, probably. But
yeah,
then what
yeah,
about, like, parodies?
exactly. Parodies. Yeah, exactly.
So who knows?
Yeah.
Apple kind of has something similar. You know, like Wordle, the game?
Oh yeah, I've heard of that. I haven't played it.
There were a lot of Wordle clones coming out, and then the developer complained, and they've been taken like off the App Store slightly. Um,
Oh, okay.
my issue with that though is some of the Wordle clones are better than the original, and it's an idea. Like why shouldn't you have copies of Word, and see which one
Yeah, that's the
sticks?
thing. That's how like games grow, people or communities even like that's how like most things like most like creations grow, right? Is like someone likes it, like someone likes Wordle, so they make their own knockoff. Maybe it's
Hmm.
better, and then there's more knockoffs off that, and it just grows like iteratively like that.
And if you're talking
But I
about
definitely,
like crypto and it being art, what if you just change the mathematical formula but get the same image?
yeah, yeah, exactly. That's a tough problem.
Okay, so we'll see. All right. Do we have any other topics or
I think that's it for me.
that's it? Okay.
Yep.
Solid week
Cool.
into
Yeah,
the
solid week.
metaverse.
Yeah, 7 articles. Pretty quick on all of them. Pretty good.
Few Raven originals. Do you have a Albert original?
I actually don't. Not today. Maybe next time.
Maybe next time. All right. See you next time then, Albert. Take
Cool.
care.
See you, Raven.